all, on behalf of the Mymoonia Spicy, Tasty Vegan Cuisine and the Pan-African Film and Video Club welcome you. The idea for today came out of a meeting we had last week. The meeting was nothing to do with this, but I suppose we could say thanks to Nawe. Because there was a power cut, we couldn't watch a film or a video. So we decided to talk. It is driven by three things. The first thing it's driven by is that Africans, as the first people on planet Earth, were the healthiest human beings for a very, very long time. For more than 100,000 years, we know. And if we look at the history of the occupation of the planet, then you could be talking about millions of years. But let us just settle for a few 100,000 years. However, in the last 3.5, and especially the last 2,000 years, we have become a diseased people. And I do not say that because I am trying to demean or belittle us. But we have moved away from the righteousness of our spirituality, the righteousness that informed us in how we eat. And then all of a sudden we started consuming things that were part of our being, animals. And through that period, we start having a deterioration in our health. If we accept that what you eat determines who you are, then it means that we have to ask ourselves, are we cats, cows, sheep, goats, chickens, fish? What are we? I am not here to say to anyone, become a vegan, because I'm not. And it's something that I would have to decide myself. And no matter what anyone tells me, I think that I know the facts about it. But sometimes lifestyle, psychology, and our mental state can become hindrance to us sometimes doing the right thing. So today what I'd like to say is not only welcome to you for coming to join us, but we hope that the taste you have of vegan food, and anyone who thinks that he or she could not eat something that didn't have meat or meat product and enjoy it, then perhaps you better tell me you didn't enjoy what you ate today. I know that I thoroughly enjoyed what I ate. And my plate was, a testament to that, because there was nothing left on it. And to even make you realize how much so, is that I eat a quarter of what I normally eat. And I ate about 2:30 today, because I was out. I got back to Sanyang about 2:15, and Sister Nancy, you can't leave the house without eating something. So I had something to eat. So I'm saying that perhaps it's a good thing, because I'd be embarrassing my good friend. She said, oh, I will be praising her, because if I keep going for seconds and thirds, then she'll say, gosh, I better do what I did today. So me loves it. Without much more ado, what we wanted to do today is to give everyone an opportunity to participate. And that participation is to say what you think. It can be about the food, it can be about holistic health, it can be about things that you believe or know can contribute to good health and healthy eating. But first of all, I think it would be a disservice if I did not call on Mama Naasira to say something, because she is the architect of what we eat. And so, Mama Naasira.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you so much for coming out and supporting Spicy Tasty Vegan. As we know that working on this diet for many years, and we're all working on change. And I learned over the years that once we continue to live, that we do need to make changes. And all of our changes are not the same. And my change, of course, is like most people's change, is based on some of the experiences that we are challenged with this life. You know, as the brother mentioned, lifestyle. My situation earlier was working in the medical field after leaving home to go to college, and was studying, trying to go to parties and just doing all these wonderful things. And I had a situation where I was drawing a patient's blood in the hospital as a medical lab tech, phlebotomist, and had that experience with sticking myself and contracting hepatitis B. And from that experience, that gave me an opportunity to know if I wanted to continue to live or not. And it was a challenge, but I had to go back and revisit the way my mother ate and then develop it from there. So I'd like to know that, did you enjoy the food today? And are you familiar with any of the flavors in there, the spices? I put all the different spices, at least 40 of the spices, and I combined it so that I could make the flavors of fish, chicken, you know, combining all the vegetables that we have in America. For instance, we have kale there, and I have not seen or don't know if kale is here in the Gambia, but I like the bisop and the cassava leaves, and I put all that in my stews. I see here you have the eggplant. There's another name for eggplant.
Aubergine.
Yes, and so I enjoyed the what is it?
Garden eggs,
Aubergine.
aubergine, same.
Oh, okay. So I always roasted with all the different vegetables. The same thing that I put in my stews, I have it in my salads. Whatever's in season, I take it and I just create the same thing and just do different things with the spices. Now I also have an opportunity to hire young people that are interested here in the Gambia. And it's interesting that the young people here are really enthusiastic about learning. So it wasn't just myself who prepared the food, but I have a staff of young sisters that can do pretty much the very thing that I can do, and if not better. Because for one thing, they're a lot stronger than I am, and it's just wonderful that I didn't have to do it all by myself with the help of my husband. And this is Fatima. She's one of the ones that's just watched everything that I do, and she can pretty much do it all. And then we have Batu, we call her FO. She's come along and she's watching, and she said, I just need to see it one time. And I got it from there, and she does. And then Miriam, she came along a few weeks ago. And today she was just all over the place. She was just supporting all of us. So we are really grateful, and we have a guest house where there's room when we need to have events like this. They come and they can stay. They can bring the children, the husband, it doesn't matter. There's a room for them to come and support this. So thank you for coming out and supporting us, and we look forward to working with you. We're interested in classes. They are interested in working with young people so that we can make a difference with our help.
Thanks, Mama. I had put this book in front of me because I wanted to introduce it through the superintendent here, taking the course. This is one of 3 books that Mama Naasira and Dr. Joe has actually written on vegan cuisine. And it's very interesting because not only is it about the food, but there's a lot of other information about body health, about the nature of our body, its needs, and above all, some of the do's and don'ts if we're trying to live healthy and keep healthy. Would you like to say a quick word, Dr. Joe, before I open the floor up further?
First of all, I'd like to thank all of you for being here. And I'd like to thank all of you for being open and receptive, because everyone cannot try something new. And in America, we have the challenge that we've been brainwashed, hypnotized, to where a lot of us have a very hard challenge eating the right type of food. One of the reasons we've come here is we've been blessed that our book is #1 in the world, #1 and #2. On our world tour, our second stop was to Africa. We came to the Gambia. And when we arrived here, we saw, hey, if we would like to help our Black Americans and those in the diaspora, we have to first help our mother. Because if a mother is strengthened, she can better take care of her children. So when we arrived, we identified 3 things that you're familiar with: the white rice, the white sugar, and the palm oil. 50 years ago, there was no white rice or white sugar in all of Africa. And now we have a wonderful challenge before us, and that is bringing back our traditional rice and eating that, which was a staple. We also have a wonderful opportunity of substituting that white sugar that is so addictive. It's been brought out to us by experts like Brother Gajali here, who's a moringa farmer. He has a wonderful facility. But if you were to take the never die, or moringas they call it, seed, and you eat that, chew it, before you take your attire without the sugar, you'll see the difference. It tastes sweet. We've also advocated that you use your local honey, and you have wonderful honey here. And your date, we call it
Tandarma.
yeah, you can take that, chop it up, put it in some water, heat it up, and you can use that as a syrup. You can also, and what we will be working with as we do the coconut oil plant, is what's called coconut oil sap, or as we call it, it's like the sap from the flower. So when the flowers from the coconut grow, you take your instrument, your tool, and just cut the flower. The sap that comes out is just as sweet as white sugar. So those are some things we can work on getting in abundance, so we can rid ourselves of those things that are keeping our mind from going higher. Now, as the brother pointed out before, in terms of meat, in our research for our book, we found out that 5,000 years ago, we Africans ate no meat, and the animals were considered part of our family. We communicated with them. But as I thought, would you want to talk to someone who ate your mother and your brother and your sister? I think not. But also on a practical level, whenever you eat meat, there is an enzyme, amino acid called lysine. And lysine regulates our pineal gland, or our third eye. This allows us to see the higher order of things, higher consciousness, but when you eat meat, it destroys lysine. So with that in mind, we are here, we're available, we're here not only for the Gambia that we're using as a base, but to go throughout all of Africa and lifting off those chains of those white things. So we appreciate you for opening your doors and your hearts and letting us come and give you the information that we have. And also to learn so much from you. Because whether you know it or not, you have the richest soil in the world. You have the best nutrients. So your fruits and vegetables are nutrient dense, the best in the world. There's no need for you not to be the healthiest person on the planet if you just choose what is natural. And remember, there are other things that have been taken from us, like touching the earth. Touching the earth. The Mother Earth itself gives us negatively charged electrons, millions of them. And what they do is they get rid of the free radicals and those things that cause problems in your body. But because we were introduced with shoes with insulation, the Jordans and the others, then we are not touching the earth. So take time. Walk along the beach. Take your shoes off. Touch your earth. In 2 minutes, you'll begin to feel the difference. And this is something that won't cost you anything. It's free. And that's what we're here for, is to point out the things you have locally that can assist you. Here we have those that have complained of illnesses such as malaria. You have the never die. You have the neem. You have vitamin C in the baba.
As we had over there today.
You have it all. Allah, the Most High, gave you everything you need. It's just a matter of you wanting to open up your heart and your eyes to see. And we appreciate you for giving us this time. Thank you. Thank you.
If anyone would like to make any comments, ask any questions, or just to share experience or thought about health, holistic health, and all the things pertaining to health, then the floor is open.
First of all, I want to know how can one get one of these books?
Oh, you're welcome. We have books
We
for
have some
sale.
here.
Okay.
And they're also at Timbuktu.
Timbuktu.
Yes.
Okay.
And they were $700, and because we know the currency is different, so we reduced it down to $500. Yes. And then we have the this one with 400 pages. This is the academic one that has a lot of other information about the oils and the flowers and different experiences that has caused us to have the different illnesses like fibroid tumors and prostate conditions. We cover this in the book. And then we also have recipes here, and then we have the one with the recipes in color, as well as black and white.
And we also had to write a third book, and we call that for the general public. And that way we can cover everyone. They don't have to be as melanated as us. But if they follow the information there, what they will get healthier too, even though their bodies are very different. And it will start to stop the calcification of their pineal gland, open it up, so they can become more sensitive and more human. So we have it so that we can help to heal the world.
Yes.
Yes, in your book you mentioned the difference between melanated people and white people. Can you elaborate that, the chemical differences?
Okay, one of the things I want to point out is that your bones, and I'll use this, are 10 times denser or stronger than Europeans. So if your bones are 10 times stronger or denser, that means your body chemistry is different. Your white blood cell, your hemoglobin. Also, you'll find that you are going to have a higher, shall we say, level of vitamins and minerals in your body than those that are not as melanated. It has advantages, also some disadvantages, because a lot of our organs are being taken from us and transplanted because we have the best organs. You'll also find that the Europeans, they have more sulfur in their body. And that sulfur in their body allows them to be warm all the time. That is why they can run around with little or no clothes on, and we're cold and they're not, jumping in cold water, and we never do that. They also have more ammonia salt that keeps them warm. So we have the differences of the ammonia salt. We have the differences of the food that they eat and how they break it down. They have more worms and parasites in their body. to break down or metabolize their food because of their DNA, which is different from ours. So those are some of the reasons that our bodies are different and we should have different type of food to support it. So if you eat the food that supports their bodies, you're going to be in trouble. So be aware. We're different. We need to eat a different kind of food.
Don't most of us know this? I think we know it, but it's not emphasized.
Very happy to be part of this and experience the difference in the food that we eat. It's a big problem here that in any food people will put this jimbo and all other things, and we are often advised that they are not good for our health. But then in the homes, even if you don't want it, you are not cooking all the time, and the one cooking will just sneak and put some things that you don't like. But one thing, I would like my daughter to be part of the girls that will assist me if I have the opportunity. And then secondly, if we look back at our grandparents, like my paternal grandmother, she lived for about 120 years. Yeah, but she refused to take modern or European medicine. She totally depends on our local medicine. Even if you take her to the hospital, she will not take the medicine. You bring her back, she throw them away. She never uses it, and she died a natural death. She had her eyesight until she died. Yes, she snitches the needle, do everything. She has very sharp eyesight. And the same applies to her brother. They lived for years. The brother lived about 115 years. Yeah, so if we have to follow the ways of our ancestors, I think a lot of the problems, especially when it comes to health, we can remedy a lot of situations. And with the trend of high blood pressure and diabetes, I've seen that most of, with high blood pressure and diabetes, I've seen that most of the patients are going back to our local medicines. Because many people, like the last time somebody was telling me, when I started using the tablet they give for diabetes, I started having serious problems with diabetes. When I stopped it and started using the local medicine, now when I go to the hospital, they will always tell me my sugar is normal. I'm not having any problem. And it's spreading because people are passing the information on. So if we start this, you give the information to someone, she or he gives it to someone, then it starts spreading and people start practicing it. Like my dad is high blood pressure, but he stopped using the medicine they give at the hospital. He's using our local medicine and he's doing these things normal now. Yeah.
And also I wanted to piggyback on that too. In America, a lot of our great-grandparents were living a lot longer. But when they left the village, the farm, and started going into the city life, the industrialized life, we started eating other people's food. And that's where the problem. I remember in the 50s and 60s, my mother would never allow us to eat anyone's food. We only ate what she prepared at home or a relative. And maybe once a month, we may go out and eat a hamburger. And back then, those hamburgers did not have all the hormones that they have today. And then we just kept moving farther and farther away from that lifestyle. Is the reason when my mother in her time, she died of cancer. It's because she was eating foods that was quick so that she can go to work and make this money, and the same with my father and relatives. And so when it got to my generation, we're like, oh no, I don't want that illness. So if it means to stay up late at night to prepare enough food for the whole week, is what I talk about in the book, that's what I've been doing for almost 40 years. And that's what we have to do. We have to dedicate ourselves. If we can't do it, you hire somebody to do it. Just like if you hire people to come in and work in the home, you can also hire them to come in and prepare the meals.
And your health is your wealth.
Absolutely. It has
It's
nothing
not
to do
money.
with rich.
Your health is
We
your
are
wealth.
wealth. You know?
Yeah, and if you have your health, there's nothing you can't do.
No, that's right.
But when you're sick, your
Oh.
feet hurt, you're constipated, you are limited in what you can do.
Absolutely.
And you can't even love people that much.
you're paid.
If your head is hurting, you can't be loving. If your back is hurting, you can't be loving.
It's pain. And I have it sometime too. And then I have to go back and put my glass of water with my moringa there, my turmeric. I put it all together, mix it up, put some coconut oil in there and some lime. And I drink a few glasses of it with the water. And after 2 or 3 days, I don't feel any of the pain in the joints and all of that. It's when I move away from it, I have to go back to it. And this is what we have to do. You know, it's okay to move away from it because it gives the body an opportunity to do things naturally. But we have to stay on a system.
And our big problem that we have are the commercials. If we owned all of the television networks, we'd have a whole different view.
That's right.
And what we have found since we've been in the Gambia, a lot of the images that you see on TV aren't images like us. They're images that are picked out to show you. And when you do see the people in America, you say, oh my God, they look all fat. Those people are sick. They're full of inflammation, pus, and mucus. Now, do you think they want to look like that?
No.
Do you think they want to be addicted to the hamburger? They put things in there to make you want to come back again and again and again. So once you are aware of that, you can start to gather your strength and just go step by step. It took a lifetime for us to get to where we are now. So don't expect it to happen overnight. But in time, as you take those steps, you'll begin to feel better. And once you feel better, you'll be able to do more. So we ask you be aware of the vegetable oils. Stay away from the soy, the corn, the canola, the safflower, the sunflower, all of those cool looking oils. They have wonderful names. Vegetable, canola. I mean, they make you sound like I'm going to be healthy eating all of this. But it is not true. When you do eat that, our bodies can't really assimilate it. And we end up with more inflammation, pus, and mucus. So that's why we give you an alternative. The best thing is the coconut oil. It's local. We'll be working with the government like we are now, so we can get more coconut trees grown along the beach area, because they grow in the sandy soil, and it's environmentally beneficial. So here we have things that can help the soil. It can also help us. It's a win-win situation. So that's what we want to do. It's just to point out the things that you can do local where you don't have to work that hard. Those are things we just have to keep in mind.
Okay, can I come in with the honey?
Yes.
It's important you know where you can get the pure or best honey. There are established places that you can have good honey, because these are recognized people who have been trained, including myself. I'm a professional beekeeper. And yeah, so like if you go to Lamin, you have a place there, you call it Professional Beekeepers Association. You can get pure honey there. If you go to Banjul, that is the headquarters of the headquarters is actually at Bantaba, at the forest. But they have a branch in Banjul. You cannot, because they buy their honey from the people they train, the members they train on beekeeping. They have their own hives, they harvest those hives and bring the honey to the centers. So they are the suppliers. If you go to those places, you get pure honey.
Yes, thank you for that information.
Most of the seeds we have now in our gardens, our women are growing in the gardens. mostly are these GMO food seeds. And what happened is like they came to our communities and said, hey, we have a new seeds. So they give these seeds for free, okay, as a trial, okay? And then you see, they will even give you money so that you can use the seed. You can fence your garden and then they give you a startup. Okay, but the intention is to get rid of your old seeds, the seeds that you can keep and then produce and then, you know, and these seeds come with packages that you have to buy the fertilizer, the spray, the chemical spray and all these things. So all these things are coming because they are foreign, because African, especially Gambian, they like foreign things. Okay, anything that comes from outside the Gambia, Gambian people will embrace it without even thinking twice. So that's another thing. So we are losing our seeds. Most of these seeds that we have, we can only grow them once. You cannot bring them back and then put them back in the ground. So that's another thing that is happening in our community. So we are losing these vegetables, these spices and herbs that we have. You see, so that's another thing.
So what can you do to rectify that?
Say that again?
And so what can we do to make that change? You know?
Exactly.
Because I'm interested in growing someday.
It started with the rice. You know, the rice, we were having series of local rices here before.
Okay.
And then they started bringing this nariga and all these other rices in. And then, because they are easily grown and then they don't take a long time, and then everybody forget about the old rice and, you know, we are into new dishes. Now, we don't even have this old rice. The seeds are not easily available, okay? So also the seeds, and there are people like this, my Mrs. Mother, she keeps seeds, okay? So if you want some natural seeds, you go there and then sell it. But normally, what people do is like, they said, no, it's hard to keep up, you know, it takes time and then it's not quick, you know. This one will take only 3 weeks or 1 month or something like that. And this one will take about 3 months, so it's different. It's anyway, I'm interested in restoring that back, you know, how we do that. I think that's another thing that we can look together and see how best we can bring back these old seeds.
Absolutely, because we do have some of it here. It hasn't all disappeared. I think what we require is information and education. Everything that looks good is not good, and everything that tastes good is not good for you. So once we start getting that information out, then I believe we can continue to turn the tide a lot faster. But the first thing is awareness.
Yeah, with the rice seed, like I have an experience with Casamance, the Jola community. If you go there, they have their original rice that we grow. I'm not saying they don't have these modern or modernized seeds, but most of the rice they grow is their original, like you have, and they have their own names, like you have Nyano and yeah, they have them there. Those are the things they grow in Casamance. Like you go to places like Usui, Jacob, Afinyam, and those areas. They have their rice.
Well, it looks like we've already started on the solution. Thank you.
Yeah, I think so.
And eating your nice food and healthy, clean and whatever, I think it's better if you can have a restaurant so that people can be coming in, especially weekends, to have a taste also. This is very good because the children, they can cook. It's very nice. Delicious food. You can do that one.
They're grateful.
Yeah, well, that is something that is we're looking at doing. Our first initial step is to identify the problems and then to start to work on them. The other thing is a luxury of being able to provide the cooking, have cooking classes in back of that, and being able to bring our food to those that cannot come out and get it. So that will necessitate a community or a family effort, because we're not into this for the money. It's not that for us at all, because we have a higher calling. We have to answer to our ancestors who have sent us here, who lead us and guide us. And we don't want them to cut us off. So we're going to try to continue to do the good thing all the time, okay?
It's a multi-work.
we have the chance if there's any other questions or any contributions. We'll spend another few minutes.
I also want to advertise myself. I do food processing. I do findi, karao, chere, bahal, kucha, everything. Anybody who is interested can get in touch with them. They will tell you where I am.
And we can testify for those of you that ate the fendi. Was it good?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you. Thank
Yes.
you for your support.
Yes, ma'am.
Just to say thank you, I thoroughly enjoyed the meal. I've been struggling with eating properly, and I felt like a child when I finished my food this afternoon. I almost took the plate and said, Brother B, I've eaten all of my food. So I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Thank you.
And I'll be contacting you for more.
Yes. You know, I was thinking about the food as always. I'm always nervous. Although I had help, I still went to bed at 1 o'clock after everybody had gone to sleep, and was up at 3 in the morning, piddling around, just making sure I wanted to make everybody as happy as I could, because not everybody is ready for the change. And I really thank you for putting it out there, because we really, wanted to make sure that everybody was satisfied.
And each one tells someone the information you have, whether it's in the book or word of mouth that you know is true. Tell someone, tell your loved one. That's all it takes, one helping another. And soon, just like a grass fire, it is done.
Each one teach one.
Yes.
We're going to bring things to a close. Just to remind you that when it comes to holistic health, eating isn't the only thing we do in terms of putting things in our body. We put supplements in this. We have natural supplements. We have supplements that are manufactured because people who have actually introduced the world to a diet of poison realize that what they're doing is really poisoning and killing people. Part of that is not an accident, it's a deliberate thing. And I don't want you to leave here fretfully, but I want you to be aware of one thing. Africa is the only part of the world that is quite habitably, comfortably, that is underpopulated. For the past 2,000 years, people from Arabia and from Europe have wanted to reduce the population of Africans. The reason is very simple. What would you say is the size of Africa compared to Europe? What is the size of Africa compared to India? What is the size of Africa compared to China? Right? We're told, and some of us think that there is an overestimation. We're told that there's a billion Africans on this continent. What's the population of India? Anybody wants to have a guess, or?
I don't even know.
1 billion.
Right, almost 1.5 billion people in India. China, what's the size of China?
Too close.
Just over 2 billion. Now, if you took India, you could put India 37 times into Africa. I'm including the desert as well. 37 times. Yet they have nearly 1.5 billion people, and we only have 1 billion. What are we told, especially our women? We must have child control because we're overpopulated. Am I telling a lie? Huh? Am I lying?
No, that's why they introduced family planning.
Right.
Yes.
So when we see people coming in and they're telling us how they want to help us, and they start helping us by introducing us to Depo-Provera, that's the contraceptive injection that you can have one every 3 or 6 months, or they start introducing you to the daily pill, or they start introducing you to condoms and other chemicals that are used for child control. No one is doing you a favor. In actual fact, if you study your history, more than 8,000 years ago in ancient Kemet, we actually practiced child control without using anything, adding anything that was either going to be harmful or poisonous to the body of women. What I'm saying is that yes, it makes good sense to plan your family, because we see around us sometimes that there are families where there is a struggle for all the children to be brought up and be educated. We have to be looking for sponsors to help us with that. We have to be hoping that some relative might do well, that they can take responsibility for a couple of the children to sponsor them up to a certain age so that they get an education. All of those are good things, but it's also good that we seek not to follow the pathway that is being introduced to us. So when you see some people come along to your village or your district, or come to your compound and is telling you about the wonderful help they can give to you if you do A, B, and C, think about it. If you don't understand it, ask some people in the community who you think might know about it. Or another thing you do is get together people in the community and talk together as to what does this mean. Because sometimes someone might come to me and say, oh, Papa B, you know, if you did this, and the next thing I know is that I become an agent. So I then come to you and I'm saying, hey, because I speak the language, I can talk to you in a local language. Then all of a sudden, I am the person who's telling you. And you think, well, you know, I trust Papa B because Papa B gives us good information. So the next thing, you go on the pathway of destruction. So whatever else you do, think about it. Try and do positive traditional things. If there are traditional things that are holding us back, then we have to look at how we can change it. But the thing is, in terms of our food and medicine traditionally, let us go back to it, because it kept our ancestors healthy, it will therefore keep us healthy. Thank you all very much. I hope we all have a safe journey back home.